Welcome everybody, and thanks for coming to another Brisbane Internet Meetup. My name's Aaron. Some of you may have met me in previous meetups. I run a small hosting company here in Brisbane. Co-organised this group with a gentleman called Nigel. He's not here tonight. And greatly privileged to have Tam here from 7dcinteractive.com.au. Tam's going to talk to us about harnessing web applications tonight, so I'll hand it straight over to Tam. You've got a little intro probably for yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Welcome to my talk. So I'm hoping that tonight you'll be able to walk away and understand the bigger picture of where mobile is going, because it's very important. And hands up here if you're a business owner in this room. Business owner. Okay. Well, it's vitally important for business owners, considering obviously we've heard a lot of stats that a lot of people are now transiting their view from day to day from the desktop computer to mobile phone. Right? So there's a lot of mobile revolutions going on at the moment, and it's leaving a lot of people behind in the dark. And it's people are still trying to catch up on websites and SEOs and videos, and now we've got mobile phones also thrown into the mix. So, before I start, I'd like to introduce a little bit about myself so that you understand where I'm coming from. So my name is Tam. I'm Vietnamese, and I was born here in Brisbane 35 years ago. So, don't let the exterior fool you, but I'm actually, I was brought up on hot dogs, pies, and hamburgers. I have a Vietnamese wife, and it drives her crazy. She'd be cooking dinner, and halfway I'd get up and go into the closet and get, the cabinet and get bread, instead of eating the rice. But I graduated as a medical engineer here in Gardens Point QUT. And you're probably wondering why now I've made the switch to as a web consultant. And the answer there is quite simple. As a medical engineer, there's a lot of stress. Let me just put it this way. It doesn't matter how bad my website designs are, nobody's going to die. Right? So, but no, honestly, there was a lot of things happening with the IT world. I can see I like to create things. I think, as a kid, I'd always want to be an inventor or something along that lines. As a medical engineer, there was a lot of rules and regulations that you have to follow. But in the IT world, you just pick up a textbook. 24 hours later, you can do something and you create it, and it's out there in the world, and you're making a difference. So that's the speed of affecting other people was what was really attractive to me. So I've been working in the web industry since 2000. So it's quite a long time there. Now, I go out to a lot of networking, and I do other talks around other places, and I've met a lot of people, and to a lot of people, technology is quite frustrating and confusing for them. It's just happening so quick out there. Before you've managed to get a grasp on one thing, you've got 3 other things coming out. You don't have the time to follow everything when you're day in, day out, you're trying to grow your business, amongst marketing, sales, and all that sort of thing. You've got technology on top as well. So, once upon a time we'd say technology is going to make our life easier. But I don't think anybody has said that in the last couple of years. I don't think. If anything, technology has got more people more frustrated and more confused. So, this is my passion that I love technology. All these new gadgets that come out, I just want to play with them and and just work out how to use them. So I thought, after all this time of accumulating all this knowledge and helping a lot of business and out there, I thought, I can start sharing information with business owners or pretty much anybody who wants to learn about this stuff. Yes. So my agenda for tonight is that I hope you understand that the world is going mobile. Understand the current mobile trends and possible future trends. And then finally, where to start. So, the world is going mobile. We look around us and everybody's got one. You see babies on prams, they've got one in their hands. You're buying a coffee, somebody's got a phone in their hand. So, it's just everyone's got one, everybody's got one. And just some numbers to throw in there for you. At this very moment, well, these numbers are showing that there are about 6 billion mobile phones out there, well, by the end of this year. Just to the information about that is not all of those phones are internet connected. So some of the phones are still the old just dial and make a call, but they are definitely phasing out. Every day there's about 1.8 billion internet connected people connecting in, so you can see there's a lot of people using their phones to find information these days. And then finally, by 2014, there's going to be somewhat 7 billion devices that are going to be connected to the internet. So it just points in the direction that if you're a business owner and you need to be seen, make sure your business is also viewable on mobile devices. And when I say mobile, these devices here, we're talking about phones, smartphones, as well as tablets. There's a lot of talk about tablets are going to be the new thing, but I'm not too sure about that. It's just that it's not as portable as the phone. But with that number, I mean, that number is very big, and we don't know how accurate that is, but 7 billion is roughly how many people in the world at the moment? That's the world population. So it's almost one phone per person. So that means I'm pretty sure some of us have 2 or more phones.
I'm wondering, Tam, whether they've actually measured the number who've gone into the landfill. Take away from that.
They were talking about mobile devices back there. They were talking about any device that was connected to the internet. So I have maybe 3 computers at home.
Mobile connected devices, so smartphones and like tablet. I'm going to have to say tablets. Otherwise, I'll say iPads all the time. But yeah, tablets.
Not laptops.
No, not laptops. So why is mobile phones or mobile devices so on the rise? First of all, they're very affordable. Anybody can afford one these days. If you can't pay one outright, you can pay $30, $40, $50 a month, and you can have some of the best phones available at this very moment. And then it's accessible. It's useful. You have all this information at your fingertips. How many of us have been down to the shops? You're at Bunnings. You're about to buy something, and you take out your phone. Oh, I better check with eBay first. It's just the way the world's going. Information is everywhere, and it's in your hands. And then finally, it's portable. Phones at one point it was like big as a brick. Now they've come way down, and then it's gone back up again. Now bigger screens is the new thing. Whereas once upon a time it got smaller was the way to go. So I think it's finally reached a point where a certain size is the optimum size for mobile phones. But they're all portable either way. It's probably one of those three items that you take with you before you leave your house. Your key, your wallet, and your phone these days. And if I had my way, all of those items would be rolled into one. But most important, and this is probably most important that we need to understand, is the mobile phone is personal. Unlike the home PC, which is commonly shared amongst all family members, the mobile phone is usually just for yourself. Now, why is this important? The phone being yours, you customize a lot of things to personalize it to yourself. You have Facebook accounts that are always on. As soon as you log in, the Facebook is already there. This is important for us business owners to know that this is probably one of the areas where they're always connected to, and we need to get our business into these particular networks so that they will have access to our stores, our online stores and services. So what are some of the current mobile trends? I mean, without a doubt, social media. I think not every, there's a lot of people out there who have phones, and they're business owners, but the mums, stay-home mums, the teenagers, they all have phones as well. Definitely not used for anything productive other than social media, Facebook. So there's a lot of users in that area. We have to pay attention to that. In that mobile phones at the moment, even though the numbers are rising, less people are using Google to search for anything on the mobile phone, which probably shows that how will your business be found if people aren't using Google to search for what they're looking for? it'll probably be through some sort of network like Facebook. A friend has recommended, or one of them coupon catch of the day type websites. These are the sort of apps that you need to get your business or whatever you're trying to sell into these particular network. Not so much as Google, because the statistics are showing that less people are now searching for Google on mobile phones, despite there are now more mobile phone users. People use mobile phones as portable office. No longer do we need to be tied down to a particular location. Wherever we have internet, we can pretty much work from that point. And we can do a lot of amazing things like with searches and paying our bills and again finding people to do work for us from overseas or on mobile phone, which makes the portable office even more of a reality. Now, let's just have a quick look at the mentality of consumers. All of us, we're all consumers. But let's look at the common consumer. We now have access to a global market, which means consumers have more and more options to choose from. The balancing question for them is, do they want it now, or do they want it cheaper? You can buy it a lot cheaper in China, but you have to wait 3 or 4 weeks. Whereas if you pay for a few dollars more, you can probably buy it a local Australian online, not a local shop as such, but with the mobile industry, with the sort of connections, we have a lot more choice to choose from. And suppliers. We're talking about probably the big players here, the big companies that have a lot of money. They're doing all they can to try to reduce the friction of how many steps does it take for a person to press the buy button. It's the likes of Facebook are trying to get you to key in just 4 numbers and then you're in, kind of thing. Some of the movies we've seen where it's voice activated. If they could get that way without being more secure, they probably would too. Ideally, if you wanted to sell anything, a person gets to your sales page, there is a buy now button, and we're getting very close to that. Just by pressing the buy button, it bypasses you putting in username and password, because the phone is already so personalized. It's assumed that this is your phone, you have the control on privacy, so everything is already open, wide open for you. So why should you start typing in your password? Just press the buy now button. So this is where the world is going, and the bigger players are trying to reduce the friction, reduce the number of clicks that you need to press before you can buy an item. So at this point, it's common knowledge that having a shop front is no longer is not enough. We definitely have to be looking into leveraging the social media network. That's where a lot of people are spending a lot of their time, and more than likely those people are your customers if you are a business owner. Okay, now some more exciting stuff. Future mobile trends. Now this is for you to see where mobile industry could be going. Well, it will be going, but it depends on some countries adopt it, or maybe a new technology comes around and overtakes it. But has anybody heard of augmented reality before? No? Yeah, if you haven't, then we're probably best to, if we've seen the movie Minority Report, we see these virtual screens right in front of us. It's sort of there, and you see the real world behind it. The phones are practically doing that now. They are strong enough to generate, virtual information over, based on your GPS or based on an item it sees in space, whether it's a logo. If the phone has been programmed to see a particular logo, it can, bring up a whole multimedia video or sound or more interactive multimedia for you. So I'll demonstrate that a little bit later on. It's all available here and now. It depends on whether the market actually takes it up. But and then finally, well, not finally. Next we have QR codes. Does anybody not know what a QR code? Okay, QR code.
Someone just explained to me. Those little things you put on your card and just look at it.
Well, some people will describe it as basically a square barcode, if that's probably a way of describing it, as opposed to the stripe barcode. It's a square with lots of more little squares in there, but I'll show you that in a second. Near field technology. We may have seen some of this by the PayPass. Basically, a lot of the future phones coming out will have a chip in it to read, I think it's an infrared radio wave type wave. So what it means is, you know, the codes that you go to the shop and you buy a DVD. It has a little sort of magnetic sticker inside. It's something like that. So why that's going to be important is that it might replace the QR code. At the moment, with a QR code, you have a sort of like a barcode that you need to take a snap of before it does something for you. It brings back information to you. Whereas a near-field technology information tag, it's actually a tag, it's a magnetic tag that you can pre-program it with information. So if you're at a bus stop and that tag has been stuck on the billboard, your phone needs to be just, you know, be close enough to it. It will pull the information from that without you having to do anything. Now, I'm certain with all this new technology, there's going to be problems as well. Do we want to walk down the street and start having our phones beeping all over the place? You know, so I'm pretty sure there'll be ways to you know, mute that or control that. But these are some of the technologies that are already here. And I think there's a big buzz behind mobile payments at the moment. I'll start with augmented reality. Just a picture here. This is a bit far-fetched, but it's not too far off. What is showing there is a person's got a phone with an app. They're looking at this particular building. The app recognizes what that building is, and then it will tell you where it is, and it will tell you extra information about it. You know, this is sort of like overlaid virtual information over a physical space. So that's what augmented reality is. And then QR codes stands for Quick Response Code. This was probably created for the mere fact that with mobile phones, the screens are very small, so it's very difficult to type in long web address. And you're prone to make a lot of mistakes as well. So they came up with this particular idea here. So with the phone, instead of typing anything, you just scan it and it will take you to the longest web address you could possibly have, and it'll get there correct every time. Now, if anybody wishes to use a QR code in their marketing campaigns or to drive business traffic anywhere, make sure you tell people how to use it. If you walk down a lot of the shopping malls these days, you'll find a big giant QR code. And, you know, some marketing company has said to the business, it's a great idea to have a QR code because people can use their phone and they'll be taken to your website. Unfortunately, I think 9 out of the 10 QR codes that I've seen do not have instructions on how to use it. And from all the, I've spoken with a lot of business owners out there, and they said, how do you use this stuff? And I just smile every time. I don't know why marketing hasn't picked it up yet, but they tell them to use a QR code, but not tell people how to actually use it. And more than like most of the time, I tell them, you need to have an app, and that's usually a start to everything. They go, oh, it's an app. So what's the app called? And it's just usually a QR code reader. And you tell them up front, search for a QR code reader. Give them a few icons of some of the apps you recommend, and it just helps them so much easier, help them along, and they'll go into their app store and they'll type in QR code, and before you know it, they'll find an icon like that, and they'll just download the app, and it'll work. But just by supplying a QR code like that doesn't help anybody. Most people don't know what to do with them.
What can that link to?
Your website?
Yep.
It can link to a website. It can pull up your contact details.
Any URL that you choose.
Okay, so you can go into the App Store and show.
Yes, that's right. It's anything that you can link on the website, you can link it through that. Now, some of the things they're using around the world, I'm not sure they're using in Australia, maybe in Brisbane at the train station. They'll have a billboard, for Woolies or something like that. If you want to buy this, you just scan this once. You scan this, 2 of those. So basically, you're adding whatever it is that you want on the billboard. So you have bananas here. Scan this code to add bananas to your basket. Scan this to add milk. And so you don't have to really type anything anymore. You just use your phone, you scan, and then you just go ahead and pay for it, and you get it delivered to your house.
Sam, do you want to tell everyone how to generate those codes?
Okay, sure. Probably there are many websites that generate these code for you for free. It's not any magic out there, and anybody's going to really start trying to charge you a lot of money for it, then they're trying to rip you off. You can get these created for free. You can go to a website called goo.gl, which is by Google. I think you also need a Google account, which is free anyway. If you have Gmail, then you already have an account. But go to goo.gl, and then they'll let you paste in whatever URL address in there, and it will generate for you a code like that, which you can just take and give to your print people, and they can add it to your business card or whatever.
Can I spell that out?
Yeah, goo, G-O-O.gl.
The code itself, is it like a GIF picture or?
Yes, it's a GIF.
Repeat the question so we can
Oh,
get
sorry.
it on audio.
The question was, is that just a GIF type picture?
Yeah.
Yes, it's more than likely. It's best that you keep it as a GIF, but more than likely when it's generated as a PNG. It's just to keep it very nice and sharp. If you were to make it like a JPEG, which is more photo-like, you may lose some of the clarity around the sharp distinction between the white and black, and then your phone will have a problem trying to read it. Okay, near-field technology or near-field communication. This we understand, we've seen before in the shops. There is a bit of problem with this at the moment with hackers, being that you use your phone or your credit card to swipe near this thing within 5 centimeters. It knows to take money out of it. So you're walking around in the mall in your bag. It doesn't take very much for them to walk by with a scanning machine, just to go very close to you and have taken your money just like that. So there is some controversy at the moment about that, the securities behind that, but definitely that is a technology.
I haven't heard of it, but it was so predictable.
It is.
I mean, really.
It's amazing what people can do out there. These are near-field magnetic stickers that you can basically buy these days. You buy a kit for like 100 stickers. You have a little device where you can load up the information onto the stickers. So what people use that for is like normally we do a poster. Traditional marketing, we do a big poster. We stick it on the wall. Now you can also stick one of these things onto the poster as well, because there's only so much that the poster can show. But if you have a mobile phone and you're going near one of these things, or you tap near this thing, your phone, if your phone has the near field technology, it will be able to pull the information off that, you'll take you to a web page. Buy now. As from the poster, it says you've got to go to this shop or go to this website to buy it. Now you just tap your phone there, it'll take you straight to the sales page, and you can just buy it, or register yourself for an event. So all these are available. You can get these stuff right now, but at the moment, the limiting factor here is how many phones out there that can read this. Even the iPhone at the moment can't do this. They're looking at iPhone 5 will be able to read this sort of stuff. There's a few Android phones out there that can do this as well. So we're probably looking at about in a year or 2 years' time when there's a lot newer phones coming out that can read this sort of stuff. And in some groups that I've spoken to, mobile payment is a hot topic. A lot of them really want to get this, to start using this basically. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's only available in the US. In Australia, if you want this, you just have to register, and when it becomes available. And I think they're really trialing bigger business first. But at this very moment, it's not yet available in Australia. So how it works is that you register for one of these devices here. That little tag that you plug into your headphone socket of your phone, it allows you to swipe a credit card. From what I understand, there are no monthly fees. There are no upfront fees, other than for every transaction that there is a cost involved. There's a flat cost plus a percentage of whatever's transacted. So at the moment, it's only in the US, but it's definitely coming to Australia, just not yet. And then, so where do we start with all these amazing technology out there? I think if anybody who here hasn't got a smartphone, then you really need to get yourself one. It's not as scary, but you better get started, because there's just more and more technology out there. And as you understand how other people out there are using it, then you can turn it around the other way, and then use it as your marketing or sales technique based on your understanding of that. Secondly, get a mobile presence. If you've got a business and you've got a website, make sure now that your website or your online information can also be viewable from the mobile phone. Once upon a time, our desk, computers where we go to look for information. Now we look for information while we're on the bus, on the train.
What does it take to do that? What
So
does it take to take your website and make it mobile friendly?
Okay, there are actually a few ways of doing that. Do you know what a WordPress WordPress? Okay. Well, there are a lot of websites out there built on a system called WordPress. It's basically a content management system, so it allows a person to log in, add pages, change content. That's this particular type of system is called WordPress. I know it has a plugin that you can easily just add a plugin in, and it will generate a mobile version of it. So if you view your website through the mobile phone, there's code in there that will immediately show you the mobile version of it. So that's probably the easiest way that I know of. Other than that, there are a few options out there. There's a lot of options out there at the moment that allows you to build your own mobile web pages for $30 a month, $50 a month. They don't charge in full prices anymore. They go monthly. There are that option as well. So so hopefully that answers your question. You can. Now, I think one of the hot topics is also apps. There's a lot of people that I've spoken to, they like to have an app. They believe that their business needs an app. But after talking with them, most of them don't really need an app. They actually what they really need is a mobile-friendly website. Now, I'll show you in a second what the difference between a mobile-friendly website is. But before I go there, the difference between a native app and a mobile web app. Most of the time they kind of look similar. A lot of people won't even know the difference. But a native app allows the app to be sold through the Apple iTunes store, the Apple store, or the Android market. So, but what I was saying to a lot of some of the people here before was that Apple has a lot of control on what goes into the Apple store these days. There's just so many apps coming through, they're really limiting on what can go in there. And businesses have sort of only just realized, oh, we can create an app that adds value to what we do. And basically, it's just their website condensed down into an app, and then they chuck it up in the App Store for free. And Apple, once upon a time, did allow that. But now Apple is cutting that down, and it's basically saying, look, we reject your app on the basis that it's not very useful to a lot of people. So as a business owner, there's a lot of business who wants to get their website as an app into the store. That's becoming more and more difficult unless the website itself has other features, has tools, like let's just say if it's a mortgage broker who has calculators built into the app that allows people to download and use it. But if it's just purely information about about the website, the business itself, more than likely Apple's going to reject that app. So the alternative, which Apple points out, is that, look guys, we're not going to let you in, but here's the alternative. Use HTML5 and create your own web app. By appearance and functionality, it's very similar, and you can run it from your own website. So that's the alternative. There is the mobile web apps. I was talking about Apple there. I think we mentioned before Android. Android is another app market, but they're a lot easier to get into. So if you're still hoping to get an app and make some money out of it, you've got Apple and you've got Android. Android is very easy to get into, but they have very low, low quality controls. So there's a lot of trash that you can get from the Android market as well. Okay, yeah, so your mobile web app is basically your mobile website. Most businesses do not need a native app. You only need a native app if you're creating a game or some sort of entertainment where you can make money out of it. But for most business, no, we don't need that. Oops.
Excuse me, please, Dave.
Yes.
Push technology and all that sort of situation.
Yeah.
Do you see that that's going to come fairly soon in terms of the HTML5 apps that you create?
There are a lot of. So the question was, is there any push notification coming out for HTML5?
Yes.
Okay. So at the HTML, push notification to explain is something that was originally created by Apple, which allows it to hook into the hardware itself. So let me just back up a bit. Apps, when they're not running, they sort of go into a sleep mode to save the phone's battery. But if the owner of the app wants to send a message out, how are they going to do this? They can't have an app continuously running in the background. So Apple devised a way of, there's a listening channel that basically, if there is a message that comes through, you figure out which app it belongs to, because there's an ID and everything. It will make a noise and it will ping up and it will tell you, there's a special here, or there's new information for the members. So that was something that was created by Apple, and you need a native app to do that. Android also came along and did something very similar as well. Now, what Colin was asking is, if we go HTML5, do we still have push notification? The answer at the moment is no. We can't access push notification. But there are a lot of web developer companies out there working on something similar, and there are some very interesting ways of doing things. And SMS is still there. There's SMS still. Obviously, SMS costs 5-7 cents per SMS, whereas push notification is free. So if you needed an app if you have 1,000 members and you'd love to get a message out to them all the time through push notification, then the app needs to be a native app. HTML5 currently does not support push notification. But obviously there are other technologies out there at the moment, and they're getting there. They're probably next week they might have something.
There is one called Clue.
Sorry?
There is one called Clue.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that one.
It's just brand new.
Clue,
Clue, C-L-E-W, and that's for HTML5.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you for that. I mean, I'll have to look up to that one as well. Oh. Okay, so what are mobile websites? A lot of people are a bit confused about this. They go, well, sure, I have a website, and if you go to my web address, you can see my website. Sure, but the problem is your website is usually for a screen, this big, and has now been compressed onto a little screen this size. So what you see a lot of people do is pinch zooming in and out all the time. If that wasn't bad enough, it's actually loading a lot more information than is required for what want people to see on the mobile phone. So basically, a mobile website is a website that has been optimized or redesigned so that it works on a mobile phone. And the mobile phone, obviously, a smaller screen, has slower internet connection. You definitely don't want to load up banners, unless the banner is actually suitable for what you want to do. But you see a lot of websites, a lot of side banners, and a lot of running videos and high quality images and that. You definitely don't need that sort of thing. So a mobile website has a lot of that stuff optimized down. You may not even have some of those images. But I'll show you an example in a second. And obviously no physical keyboard and no mouse as well. So you have to imagine buttons cannot be really small, scaled down. They have to be really big, suitable for your finger tap basically. Now here's an example. This is a website that is just being compressed down onto a phone there, and you can see you can barely read anything there. You'd have to double tap, you have to pinch zoom, and there's a lot of stuff on there that is not really relevant. When a person is coming to your website via the phone, they're there to quickly grab some information, whether it's a contact detail or what is it that you do. Other than that, they don't want to they may not want to read your blog or articles at this stage. But here is the optimized version over there. Logo, so we've got the branding. All right, so let me just quickly. This is a this is a mock-up of what it actually looks like. You can actually get to this via the phone as well, but so from whatever the website was before, this is now the optimized. This is what a mobile website should look like and how it should act. All right. Oh. Obviously, I need my finger to swipe a bit, not with the mouse. So you notice all the buttons are very big. And remember, if you're ever going to get a person to create a mobile website for you, remember to give the user the option to view the full website as well. There are times when you've seen an article and you want to show your friend, oh, I saw this great thing on this website, and then you try to go to the website via the phone, and then you get locked away in this this mobile version, and then you just can't get there, and it drives people a bit, you know, get them a bit upset. Okay, and here, I mean, that's the QR code that allows a person, if they want to, they can just jump straight to that website if they snap on that QR code there. So the minimum requirements to having a mobile website is definitely your branding, your services, and probably your contact information. You probably don't need any more than that, but you're welcome to have other things, but those are the minimum that you should have on your mobile website. People usually go there just for those few reasons. Yep, so we definitely have larger buttons, only the critical content to keep the file size down low, and then give the users the option to view the full website. So why do we want to do this? As a start, it just gives us a platform to start from. It's just, this is only the starting point. Eventually, you'd want people to get to your, to your website, and then you get them to click on, like my Facebook, because you know that their Facebook account is already open on their phone, or their PayPal is already unlocked on their phone. Click here to buy now, and you just get them through the paying system a lot quicker. Yep, so also at the same time, we want to take advantage of the social media connection that they've got on their phone there. And obviously I mentioned their PayPal, getting to buy things very quickly from your website. So tonight we've spoken the world going mobile. Some of the current mobile trends like social media, Facebook, Twitter, and I think there's a few out there now. Pinterest has been pretty strong in the last couple of months. I've still yet to catch up on what Pinterest is all about, but that one is really moving ahead as well. And these are some of the technology that you need to be aware of. We've got the pay now through your phone, your augmented reality, QR codes, and near-field technology. Some of these things that you need to be aware of so that you can also use in your marketing strategies as well.
Excuse me, if we're building a website now, would we be able to say to our designer to have that facility built in for Square or...
Sorry, which one? This one?
You to pay by credit card. Is there a formula that they need to build into the website now for the future, or something that can be added later?
No, that one works with an app. Okay. Say PayPal or Square will provide an app that you will download to your phone. So basically, let's say at your Sunday markets, and you're trying to sell something out of the boot of your car, and people don't have the cash. That's where you can take out your phone, open up the app, and you've got that little swiping dongle there. Yeah. So it's an app. So yes, we're definitely still in the early days, but it's definitely moving on very, very quickly. Just a little bit about my business. I manage a team of designers, developers, writers, and researchers. We do a lot of interactive multimedia work for universities, as well as the state library, even for business as well. But in the past couple of months, we've been really focusing on making sure mobile websites are sort of business friendly, because there is so much. There has been a lot of demand from business owners that I've met to get. Allow them to use mobile websites to get them make more leads in generation. So what I have to say is that while all this technology out there is good and great, but it's still very much only a tool. Just like a website, it's just a tool. It gets there, and it doesn't do anything unless you put the proper strategic marketing, strategy around it. So that's what we're definitely been looking in the next couple of months is getting more information out about mobile websites for business and the marketing strategies that come around it. So if it's useful to anybody, then I have a form that I'd like to get you to fill in. Basically.
Your contact details you can throw up on the screen?
No, I have business cards. I have business cards I can hand out. But yeah, so I hope.
A question?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do questions. Yeah. Ready for questions?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Let's take questions from the floor.
You name mobile apps and you name website for mobile phone. What's the difference?
So you're talking about a native? No, so
We'll repeat the question as well for the audio.
So the question was, I've talked about mobile apps as well as websites, mobile websites.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? Okay, so with a native app,
No, not a native, web app.
a web app,
Yeah.
okay, comparing it with
With a mobile website.
a mobile website. Okay, first of all, pretty much the same thing. It starts off as a mobile website. It's just informational. Now, first of all, the app comes from the word application. So if your website now offers an ability to do something more, you interact with it to get more information out, then it becomes an app.
Like a form?
Yes, a form. Like even a contact form is a start. But imagine you get a person to come to your mobile website and you secretly put in a survey. Do you like cats? And then there's the little switch that says yes or no. And a person just will go, well, how hard is that? I don't need to type anything. I just need to press it. Before you know, you're collecting information already. That is an application because it's actually collecting information from you to be stored somewhere. So this is definitely a strategy that, if built correctly into your website, you can get a lot of information out of people without them realizing they're doing a survey.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it's the same.
It is the same. Yes, a mobile website and a mobile web app is similar. Is very pretty much similar. One has more functionality than the other one.
I've got a question. I was a bit confused with the HTML5 web app. So if you create a web application not within the iTunes store, do you end up with an icon on your phone on an iPhone? I thought you could only get the icons on the iPhone if you had something come through the store.
No, you can.
So can you explain?
Well, there are a lot of JavaScript. I'll try not to go into the terminology too much, but there are some programs that allow you to make your mobile website look and feel very much like an iPhone app. The way it scrolls, the way it sort of bounces up and down, the form, the buttons and that. There are codes that allow you, I'll even show you in a second, it will drop down and remind you, just add this website to your home screen, and then you can just follow these 1, 2, 3 instructions and it will put your company logo on your phone. You can do this also for the Android phone as well, but their steps are a little bit different. But yes, essentially, yes, you can put that icon, your company logo from your website, onto the home screen of your phone. You can do that.
The other week there was a opportunity there on the Warrior Forum, and a guy had devised a way that you could have a mobile, a web app, and he was doing it through, and I don't understand all this stuff, but he was doing it through a back door, whereby you didn't have to pay the $99. In other words, you didn't actually have to become a developer. He did it through his development license, and so it actually came down to you as a button, so that it would then be stored on your mobile phone. You hit the button and it came up just like an app. It had limited information on it.
Yep.
A bit of a crude way of going about things, but I think we'll move on from that a long way.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about there. It's called it's a website called TestFlight. What it does is it's actually connected to the Apple account. So let's say I have an Apple developer account. There's 2 ways I can distribute an app to you. So let's say if I created an app for you, and I can either put it into the App Store which is then now available to the public. Or if I wanted to put it directly on your phone, I need a special secret, well not secret, a special unique code from your phone so then I can publish the app and give it directly to you. Now that is allowable. Apple actually allows that as a developer to client sort of relationship. As we're testing, I can do that. So the website is called TestFlight. It sort of allows me to manage all the developments through to my clients instead of go, here's the file, you need to put it into iTunes and go through all these steps to get onto your phone. There's a website called TestFlight that allows me to put everything through there and makes it easy for you to, all I provide is basically a web link. You go to that and it will tell you to just click this and allow it and it will install on your phone. But essentially it takes a unique code from your phone first to do that.
Thank you.
Just a question about the QR codes.
Yes.
I was a bit surprised to hear that you said a lot of consumers have not seen them or don't know how to use them, but you don't want to be, patronizing and get the wrong kind of age group or whatever it is. Do you have an experience of who's really used to it and would feel offended if I tell them how to use it? Or is there a certain, is there a bit of a stratification or something?
Well, I've met a lot of business owners, and I must say, a lot of them are a little bit older in the older generation. But having said that, there were a lot of young people who also didn't know.
So it's because they're not that common in Australia yet?
Well, I blame it. I blame it on the marketing groups at the moment. They're still very much focused on the traditional ways of marketing, and maybe they're not aware of how to actually use it properly. But you do see QR codes on the sides of buses, at the stops, in the shops, in the malls. You see them, but next time you see them, pay attention. Do they provide any instructions on how to use it? And that's basically the part that falls down, is the instructions on how to use it. So, despite all these QR codes are out there, people are none the wiser on how to use them.
I don't think you're being condescending if you leave a little message like what Tam had on the screen with a couple of icons, one for Android, one for iPhone, and search in the store for QR code. It's just general knowledge. You're not being condescending or throwing it down your phone. So, I think a simple message like what Tam had on the screen. And Tam, can we get those slides for the meetup group and put it onto the meetup?
Yes, sure.
So I'll post the slides and you can see how Tam has presented that. That's really all you need to do whenever you have the QR code presented. That little blurb underneath it, and the rest is up to them.
Now, I think I've shown a lot of things, but I haven't yet shown an augmented reality thing, and this is probably something that is probably one of the most interesting highlights of my talk is this. I mean, if anybody, I don't know if the internet works well here for a lot of people, but if anybody could help. Now, if I can just drop this is a marker for an augmented reality thing I'm going to show you. Oops. Now, if anybody can just see if I can get my hand away, if I point. There we go. We've got the solar system on the floor here. So if anybody wants to go around and have a look, if you can even download the app, which is free. It's about 4 megs, so I don't know how fast it will come down here, but it will allow you to see, this is an augmented reality that my team has created last week. So you can actually get very close and you can look at the planets themselves there. As long as the phone sees that marker, it will know what to render.
Just spin it around here, Tam.
Yeah. Can you see it there? I don't know, you probably don't know. I'll get my iPad out if you want.
And this is run on the solar system.
This one is one I created on the solar system. It can be on architectural buildings. The app is called Juneo. Juneo, J-U. Sorry?
Could it just be one of your products?
Yes, it can be. Some of the ways I've seen them use is on a toy box, a Lego toy box. You pick up the box and you shake it around and you see, oh, there's a picture of the toy. Now, they had basically the same thing on the back of the box. You take out your phone and you see the toy in three-dimensional. So the thing is, I'll get it on my iPad.
Very cool. What skills are required for augmented reality?
This one is relatively easy. Juneo. Juneo was created by a group called Mateo. I think it's a European company. They've made it so that the app itself is a augmented reality browser. Right, so they've got the platform in place. All you need to do is get a person who can create for you the model in a particular format. and then there's a bit of code that you sort of follow the tutorial and link it all together. So it's relatively easy. It's relatively easy if you're willing to sit through and learn it, but it's not impossible. You don't need to have a degree or anything like that. There are other systems out there that are a lot more complex. Obviously, it can do a lot more as well. This is
Which platform do you recommend?
in terms of marketing for business, then I think this Juneo system is very, very good. Juneo, Junao. So there's an app called Juneo.
It's similar to the QR codes that you would then have to educate the market to get the app to see the result, which is the same as QR codes. And in time, I guess it'll be built into the operators.
So this is actually a marker. Now, why I'm calling this a marker is it doesn't actually have to look like that. It can be the McDonald's golden M. As long as I program into the coding that if you see this particular shape, then show this information, that M is a marker. This happens just to look like a QR code, so but it's not really. The reason why I choose to use this is the contrast between the white and black helps the phone see it in this sort of light. But in fact, it doesn't have to be looking anything like that. As long as
it could be any symbol at all that you choose.
As long as it's contrasting. If it's something that the shades are very sort of obscure and the phone is having a hard time trying to figure it out, then you'll have it sort of jittering. It won't be steady. Now, would you like to hold that? I'll keep it locked in there. Yeah, so you can have a look at that. So you can see, if I drag, I spin it around.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'll grab my iPad. This one was created for educational purposes, but obviously there are commercial purposes as well. Now, if I can get some internet connection. Has anybody attempted to download the app at all? If anybody's interested, I could email you out basically a PDF like this, which will give you the instructions on how to download it for your phone. Yep. Yeah.
We might put that on the meetup group.
Okay.
It only goes out to meetup group members that are part of this group.
I'll just quickly show you another one.
So how are they using these in an educational situation?
Well, this one here, as you can see, the solar system, instead of seeing it in a textbook, you bring it to life. It's now, originally this idea came about because my son, in his room, he has all those glow-in-the-dark stars and planets around the light. And one night I was just lying there and I was thinking, it would be great to see the planets move around the light in his room, like that was the sun. So this idea came about, and I got my team to create those models for me. Let's see if still downloading. I was going to show you a 3D house in a second. We don't seem to have much internet connection here. But I just wanted to show you a really cool house.
I think real estate agents would be able to have a field day with that.
Well, probably not so much the real estate agent, probably more the property developers. Imagine if I had a sort of like a A4 street map, and this particular lot where it's empty on the street, and you just pop your phone in and you'll see a building come out of the paper. It can show this is what the building looks like on the street from all different angles. Now that's very possible. I can get that done, created tomorrow. So
Why couldn't you have a QR code there just as easily as having that?
Wouldn't be three-dimensional. Wouldn't be three-dimensional.
No, no.
Go to the website and then bring up. Just asking. Well, if you go to to go to an URL, wouldn't it? So the URL would then have within it.
Yes, but the thing is, you want your phone, you want the camera to react with that shape. Now, what the app is actually doing is, sure, it recognizes that shape, but because of how that shape is skewed, the angle of it's skewed, the phone sort of works out where it is in space, and then it renders the picture based on where the phone is at in that moment. So that's what it's doing. Now let's see if I can get this. Okay. So same marker. Now, if somebody could, can everybody see a house there? It's a very stylized house. Yeah, anybody want to just come and just grab and have a check it out? No, you don't need to do that. This was just change the channel. That's all it was.
Well, it's gone now.
Oh yeah, just get a bit closer. As long as the phone tracks onto that, then you've got it. Then you can move back.
Is this another one you built? The house?
Yes.
How much does that cost to do if you're like I'm building a unit block at the moment? How much would it cost to actually render?
It depends on how complex the model is. Yes, because I guess you can have like a building with lots of louvers. Now, if you want the details of each of the individual louvers, actual pieces of model, then it's a lot more work than a big block with a picture of the louvers stuck on. So basically, I'm answering is depending on how complex the model is. But that solar system one, obviously just a few spheres animated around, and the person had to do the textures around it. How much was that? That was about $400 or $500 to create. That was just the space one. But yeah, it depends on the building is really depending on how complex the model is. But it's definitely depending on what you're using it for.
Would you do that off the architectural specifications, or architectural drawings, or elevations?
Most architects probably have 3D modeling.
The only concern with that is the models that they use for the actual rendering might be too high polygon. So the phone, we are limited to how much power the phone has. So with the phone, you're limited to a lower number of polygons. So while you may have the models already created for your normal rendering, it might be too much for this. Yeah, so you have to sort of recreate a watered down version of it. So that's, but you won't know unless you test it. Yes. So is there any questions? Anything else?
Any more questions for Tam?
Tam?
Yes.
One, just quickly. App software, so building apps, is Xcode, obviously. Is there any others?
Yes. Yes. You can build it in Flash as well.
Oh, yeah.
Flash,
No good for an iPad, though.
No. You can't run Flash in a browser. But as a Flash development, you can use Flash and then compile everything into a native iPhone app. The beauty of this is you can use Flash to, at the same time, export it for iPhone as well as Android in one go.
Oh, right.
Yep. So obviously there are limitations. If you wanted to create an app for both iPhone as well as Android, and you don't want to pay two different developers, then Flash might be the way to go.
Yeah, right.
Now, having said that, you may be able to get away with HTML5 as well.
Yeah.
You build in HTML5, and there's a software called PhoneGap, which takes that and PhoneGap, yes.
Yeah.
It basically is bridging the gap between where HTML5 is at and where native apps are at.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
So the HTML5 by itself cannot access the hardware, certain hardware.
Yep.
The PhoneGap basically packages it up and goes, look, here are all these extra classes that will allow you to tap into the GPS, tap into the camera, and the file systems. So yeah, not just Xcode. And even just the iOS development, there are a few languages over there as well.
Yeah, right. Awesome, thanks.
In a non-native app, still store information locally on the device using such like a DB such as Adobe or something?
Like HTML5 can. HTML5 can do it as well.
Okay.
They have a built-in file system that you can use as well. So it's funny how I tell you some of these things. I might tell you some things is not possible today. It might not be possible today. Next week it probably might be. Yeah, that's how fast some of these things are going. But yes, non-native can still save on your devices. HTML5 can do that.
Where do you learn these languages like Flash and HTML5? Like, is there a school where you can go to learn these languages?
Yes, I think, Steve is just saying here. Lynda.com is a website.
lynda.com. Teach you anything and everything about how to.
That's on Google. It's a tutorial that you download.
Yeah, it's an online tutorials website. We're paying membership for it, but
it's not that not that much, and you can learn so much to learn. Yeah. So back in the days when I learned Flash was actually through a textbook in a shop called, well, no, not Borders. There was another bookstore that was now shut down as well. But yes, traditionally it was in the book. But now pretty much anything online you can learn. And lynda.com is an excellent resource. You can pretty much learn anything from there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just while you're talking about HTML5 and Flash, people are telling me that Flash is on the way out because of the amount of memory it consumes. And HTML5 is where not everyone, but a lot of the development effort is going into that platform, leaving Flash alone. Is that what your experience is?
That to some extent is true. For a very long time, Flash obviously dominated the market because they could do what nobody else could do. You know, when you view a web page and you want to go to see some new information, the whole page blanks and reloads. Flash came along and could do all these amazing things without having to load and just go blank. And then more recently, when there's these codes, basically languages that came along and did basically the same thing. The real Flash killer, if anything, was Steve Jobs. He basically decided to kill Flash, not intentionally. He had a business model he was running. He was trying to get as many developers as possible to learn the Xcode. So he wanted millions of developers to create stuff for his device, which made sense. So if he all of a sudden let all Flash developers create stuff on this device, he wouldn't have a chance of selling his language. So he didn't want Flash on there for a long time, and they made up a lot of excuses. But in some ways, Flash is dying. You know, I came from a Flash development background, and I used to make a lot of Flash applications for people. But now I have to advise a lot of people, don't put Flash on your website, because if you want your website to be seen on one of these devices or the iPhone, the Flash is not rendered, it won't be seen.
Or Android.
Android, you can see Flash. You can see Flash content on the browsers in Android. It is slower, yes. But Flash has been taken to a different level. It's not being used so much on the websites anymore, but Flash is being used to create applications. As I mentioned before, you can create an app in Flash and export it in one go for iOS as well as for Android. So there is that benefit. But there also is a limitation. It is a little bit slower. If you want the best of the best, then you go native to that machine. So if you wanted to create something for the iPad, then you've got to go like Xcode. So it uses that hardware well. And if that means you're going to have to pay 2 sets of development. You're going to have 2 teams, one team to create one for the Apple and one for the Android. So you're up for double the cost. And if you don't need to, and if you can get away with it, Flash is the middle ground, and possibly HTML5 as well.
Thank you.
I've got one more question for you. So if you build a mobile website with HTML5, can you then bundle that up into a native app using these GAP tools?
Yes.
So you can use Flash or HTML5 or have someone build it for you in those cheaper methodologies and then have it bundled.
Yes.
If it's a simple thing, just have it bundled with a GAP software and then you're off.
That's right. That's right. We've had Flash application built with Flash and have been submitted to the Apple Store, and they will go through fine as long as they meet Apple's guidelines. And then their guidelines are not very clear. So then also HTML5 using PhoneGap, apps have gone through various stores as well. So there's no problems with that.
Any more questions for Tan?
Just a question in regards to in-app advertising. Do
Yes.
you deal with that through your company?
I don't deal with it, but I do know bits and pieces about it. What would you like to know?
Okay, I'll have to do some research about that, particularly with who the big players are. I mean, some of the ones that come up, there's one I can remember right now is Interactive. The thing I was interested in was, do you know if they can tap, okay, so targeted advertising, matching say a local advert to something that your customer is interested in seeing. So if I have a database of information that I want them to tap, do you know if that's possible?
To tap, as in like to get information out of them?
Yeah. So what someone likes, for example, if that's stored in my database, would they access that to match against an advert? Local advert?
I think one of the groups is Google's.
Such as Google, and Facebook does the same thing.
That I can't answer for certain, but I do know that there's been a lot of data mining behind the Facebook profile and stuff like that. All I know about the actual ad, say the ad mob is one of them, that you would sign up an account and then you could basically choose the type of ads that would go onto that particular app that you've got. So assuming you've got an app that does mathematics for young kids, and then it's free, but you want to make revenue from the banner ads. So make sure those ads are obviously kid related. Otherwise, they're not going to click on it. Yeah. So that's all I can really answer. I don't know too much about the actual.
I'm probably best off talking to someone like Interactive anyway.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Any more questions for Tam? We'll close off the formal part of the evening and just break and mingle. Thank you very much, Tam, for coming on tonight. Much appreciated.